My interview with Tony, or Antonio, took place in the back of his truck on the edge of his tailgate actually, at a farmer's market in Las Vegas, New Mexico. I was fortunate enough to be able to spend a little bit of time with him. Actually, I spent a lot more time than is reflected in this video. But the weaknesses of my medium and the project questions are evident in this interview with Tony. Also the setting. There was a lot of wind, a lot of cars going by that interrupt to what was going on. At the beginning, he kind of expressed the traditional thought that when you take somebody's picture, you get some of their soul. And he talked about an experience where that had happened with him, where he had refused to have somebody take his picture, but here he agreed to go ahead.
We might capture
and let
your
us do
soul
it.
here. I hope we capture
I
your
hope
soul.
you do.
And I hope that your soul gets spread. And I hope your soul, and my sense is that you have a great soul, and that great soul is going to have its influence. And so, in a way, I hope we capture part of it, but I think there's enough of it for you to keep too.
Well, that soul gives me very great hope for the young people.
Throughout our conversation, Tony expressed great hope and faith in the younger generations. He feels like that's where the answers to our questions or the resolutions to our problems will be found. When I asked him what his dreams were about and what he was hoping for, his response was he was hoping for an America where people of all races and religions and ethnicities could work together, be open in an open society where everyone was treated equally. He also talked about when he was getting his PhDs, he has 2 doctoral degrees in mathematics, and about the discrimination that he began to suffer there when he first went to grad school.
I came very depressed to Albuquerque to visit my father. He was a sheep herder and a farmer like this, sharecropper. And he saw me depressed, and he knew something was wrong. And then my great-grandmother came to me in a dream. That's where I said, let's take the dream literally. And in the dream, I go back to the village, and I go back to the stone and adobe house where she passed away. I remember she was 170 years old, and she was, just dehydrated. I mean, she was old. In the dream, she told me, Antonio, I raised all of you to be men. And no matter what the circumstances are, you show your manhood.
Oh.
I raised you. She was Indian. She was Apache.
Yeah.
Adopted into the Mexican culture. And she said, so now is the time to practice what I taught you. I went back to Northern Colorado. I enrolled in all my classes. I started making straight 4 points. My advisor couldn't understand the change. My Anglo friends couldn't understand the change. I said, what happened, Antonio? I mean, from that semester, it didn't matter that the professors were racist with me. I excelled. I got 100% on my qualifying exams and on my comprehensive exams. I did everything, passed in spite of everything else. I was a top student. But it came through a dream.
The dream. So that's beautiful.
Well,
that's a great story. It's a great thing.
And that's not the only one, okay?
Yeah.
I had another dream there.
Antonio then goes back and recounts a dream that he had right out of high school when he and his friends were getting together and comparing notes about where they were going to college and everything. The dream is rich in symbology. I think I'll let him tell it, but the crux of the dream, I believe, is that, as I understood it, was that his job was to kind of come back after he finished all of his education and do some great things in the valley from where he came from, here in and around Las Vegas. I'll let you do your own interpretation as you listen to Antonio recount this dream.
We had gone, we were sharecroppers, and there were people who are rich, Hispanos, okay? Cattle, sheep, and so on. They went to private schools. They went, and we didn't. We went to the poorest schools and so on. And when we met later, we were seniors in high school. I indicated I was going to come to Highlands. But the rich ones know. I said, I'm going to Harvard, I'm going to Princeton, I'm going to Yale, I'm going to, UCLA and this and that. We're not going to go to a rinky-dink school like you. And I said, well, that's where I'm going. And we all met in Albuquerque at a bar. We had a last celebration. Some went to the NUM, okay, some were drafted. But I was, and one of them told me, I'm going to get a degree from Yale, and it's, you're going to a nothing school and this and that. I said, it's okay, but they were always like that. They were elitist. I had a dream over there after my great-grandmother came to see me in a dream.
In the dream, there seemed to be two groups of people. One group would be the high school kids that went to the private schools and were all going to the prestigious schools that he'll talk about. And they are the group that were climbing the mesa that he'll refer to. And then there was a group, I believe it probably indicating indigenous people or the native population of the valley here, the valley where Las Vegas is found.
And in the dream, I went back to my village. And there's a stone house where she lived in the adobes. And I see a bunch of young people trying, climbing the mountains there, the hills. They're not mountains, they're mesas. And I recognize it's all these people, came from rich families and so on. They're going up there. And the dream is saying something. There's something, they're climbing. So I start going behind them. And I start running. And when I'm up to some degree, there's a bunch of kids out there saying, Tony, they're going up too fast. They're going to get there before you. Catch up to them. So I keep going. When we're halfway, so there's a ledge. And they're sitting there resting. And I'm getting just to the ledge. And I'm tired, and I put my hands, and I tell them, give me a little help and I'll get on the ledge with you. And they stop my hands. And I drop. And they said, ha, we're going to reach the mountain before you are. We're going to get to the very top and we're going to show how it is. And I said, oh my gosh, and those kids are depending on me. They keep cheering me on. So I remember that my uncle used to have a path for his horse. He's the only one who could get a horse that high up there. And I went around that path, I found them. And when I was getting over there, they were down here. So I told them, I'm beginning to see the valley and it's green and it's beautiful and those kids are dancing and jumping. I said, hurry up and get up this high. And they said, no, you think you beat us to it, but we're gonna beat you down. So they take off without reaching the top. Okay, I reach the very top and I see the valley greening, and it is now. Okay, I wish I could tell you how we got it to green, but we have revived the valley. And the kids started to shout at me, hurry up, because they're coming ahead of you. And I know they have something mean on them. And I told the kids about, I don't know, and I start running down and I trip and I'm flying over and I think I'm gonna die. And there's an oak tree, a small oak tree that I used to rest under when I was little, and I used to go climbing up there. I latch onto a branch and it magically stretches. That tree, that oak, stretched like an arc. And I landed right over there. And they were still coming, they were tumbling and so on. And I got to the kids. Well, for the next break that we had, we all gathered in Albuquerque again.
Yeah.
See who's doing how in this.
Antonio goes on to recount that they met again at the bar, and one of the guys that was stomping on his fingers in the dream was really drunk and wasn't doing very well, and flunked out first semester, and that the others were doing okay, but he had been doing really well compared to what the others were doing. So perhaps that symbolizes the climb up the mountain. I'll keep my own thoughts about the descent down the mountain to myself. What do you think?
If you were going to kind of say your dreams have changed from this to what you have come to as this dream of America working together, did your dreams earlier, were they kind of more about how do I get my degree, how do I get this, how do I get this? Were they more self-centered? And then you ended up with children.
Yeah, too. I ended up with 10 children, you know.
Antonio doesn't talk too much more about his past. He seems to be someone who would rather talk about what's happening now, and although he's aware of how it got to be the way it was, he's looking forward. He's looking forward to the youth. And in the last little segment, he gives some advice to the youth.
You're right about this. I'd like to read it, because you're going to touch so many people that probably believe like I do, that there is deep down in there is hope.
There's hope.
God is good.
Again, you're to the kids, it would be that they are the hope, and God's in them.
Yeah. And we don't need to go every Sunday and engage in demagoguery and have the rich come in with their ties and throwing $100 in collection baskets. No. Practice it among yourselves. That's what Christ taught. In fact, all the videos I have on the research on Christ admonished, not the last, admonished his disciples and his followers never to institutionalize his teachings. He didn't want to see building. He specifically said, out in the open, I want you to preach and preach like I do. And don't start building buildings and believing in buildings and so on. You're losing what I'm teaching you.
And then the Buddha said, the finger that's pointing at the moon isn't the moon, so don't get caught up with my finger.
Yeah,
Go to the moon.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Adios.